Some background. My family likes to play pranks with Christmas and birthday gifts. It's nothing new. I, female, 21 years old, as well as my 5 siblings, ranging in age from 29 to 37, have all been pranked on our birthdays and on Christmas, usually with 1 or 2 joke gifts. However, this Christmas, I was the only person to receive all joke gifts. For example, I unwrapped a MacBook from my brother, but when I opened it, it turned out to be just some chocolate, which I don't eat, so I gave it away. And the real MacBook was actually given to my sister in a bag she wanted. Another gift was what I thought was a book from my Christmas list, but it was actually just the book cover put on a dictionary. When I asked my mom about the book, she told me she gave it to my sister-in-law. This continued with each present my siblings or parents had given me. The AirPods turned out to be just a charger block or adapter. The gift cards were used with a $0 balance. I received a card with Monopoly money, and so on, totaling about 12 joke gifts. I realized that while I went out of my way to get everyone something they wanted or would like, I didn't receive anything genuine in return. At this point, I was feeling down, so I went to the living room to watch TV with my boyfriend. During dinner, everyone was talking about how much they loved their gifts, and when my dad asked why I hadn't said anything about mine, I said there wasn't much to say. Everyone except my boyfriend laughed, and my mom said it wasn't a big deal since everyone else also received joke gifts. I explained that every gift I received was a joke gift, while the ones they received were followed by the real ones. My dad told me to relax and not make a big deal out of it, assuring me that I would have the opportunity to receive the things on my list next Christmas. Not wanting to argue back and forth, I told my boyfriend that I wanted to leave and spend the rest of Christmas break with his family before going home. My family got upset and told me not to go, insisting that it wasn't serious. However, I left and put my phone on Do Not Disturb during the drive. By the time we arrived at my boyfriend's parents' house, I had several missed calls and texts from my family, calling me names like ungrateful, sensitive, and childish. They said I ruined Christmas and made my parents upset by leaving. The next day, I exchanged and opened gifts with my boyfriend and his family, and one of the gifts I received was the book I wanted, the book my mom pretended to gift me. I posted it on my Instagram story, and not even a minute later, my sister sent a screenshot of my story to the family group chat. They were mad at me for leaving and accused me of ruining Christmas over some presents. They demanded that I owe everyone, especially my parents, an apology because my mom spent New Year's feeling sad because of my actions. Now, I just want an outside party to tell me if I'm the one at fault here. Am I wrong for being upset about the gifts and for leaving? After reading their messages and reflecting for a few days, I now feel like maybe I was upset over nothing and need to apologize to them. I want to clarify a few things. My Christmas list didn't include expensive gifts, nor was I upset about not receiving expensive gifts. I was simply upset because everything I received was a prank, and I was the only person who didn't receive a genuine gift. Another thing I would like to address is that I didn't do anything to provoke my family's pranks. The last major argument I had with them was over 1.5 years ago. Thank you for the replies, and I will do my best to respond to comments while I'm at work. I participated in joke gifts when I was a kid, but I haven't participated in the last 10+ years because I didn't enjoy it or find it funny, which they are aware of. I'll provide more information if needed during my break or when I have time to reply. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. My dad told me I needed to relax as I'm making a big deal about it, and I'd have next Christmas to get the stuff on my list. OMG, why are you so upset? It's not a big deal that you basically got trash presents this year from your entire family. You can get actual presents next year. Your dad told you to wait a whole year to get any gifts that were actually thoughtful or useful to you. He wanted you to be okay with getting what is essentially garbage for Christmas because the rest of the family thinks hurting you is funny. These weren't joke gifts. They were a taunt. Your family was showing you how little you mean to them. Comment 2. Because my mom spent New Year sad because of my actions. No, your mom spent New Year sad because of the consequences of your family's actions. They treated you as a joke for Christmas. A joke is not a joke if the person it is aimed at does not find it funny. Honestly, it comes across as bullying. You are the only one to only get joke presents. Your actual presents were given away to family members. Your family sounds cruel. And if mommy is oh so sad, then maybe she should think about her actions and the actions of the rest of your family. They suck. Not the idiot. I'm glad your boyfriend and his family didn't suck. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been 3 months since my last post, and wow, a lot has happened. I never expected things to escalate the way they did, but here we are. After the whole Christmas fiasco, things with my family were tense, to say the least. I spent the rest of the break with my boyfriend's family, who were incredibly supportive and kind. They knew about our family's prank tradition, but they also saw how it had gone too far this time. Back when I was younger, I remember my oldest brother getting a box of rocks for his 16th birthday. We all laughed because it was a single joke among real presents. But this Christmas, it was like they all conspired to make every gift a joke for me. I couldn't understand why. I had always been the peacemaker in the family, avoiding conflicts and trying to keep things smooth. When I returned home after the break, I found a package on my doorstep. It was from my parents, and inside was a heartfelt apology note and a few of the items from my original Christmas list. I was touched, but still hurt. I couldn't shake off the feeling of being the family's laughingstock. My siblings, on the other hand, were a different story. They were still upset that I had left and caused a scene, according to them. My sister, the one who got the MacBook and the book I wanted, was the most vocal. She claimed I was overreacting and that it was all in good fun. But then things took a turn. My brother, the one who had given me the chocolate MacBook, came over to talk. He admitted that the pranks had been his idea, but he hadn't intended for everyone to only give me joke gifts. He felt guilty, especially after seeing how much it had affected me. He also confessed that my sister had egged everyone on, saying I wouldn't mind and it would be hilarious. I was shocked. My sister and I had always had a bit of a rivalry, but I never thought she'd go this far. She had always been the golden child, excelling in sports and school, while I was more of the creative type, quieter, and more into my books and art. The confrontation with my brother led to a family meeting. It was intense, with emotions running high. My parents were upset that what was supposed to be a harmless tradition had caused such a rift. My siblings were split. Some were apologetic, while others, like my sister, were defensive. During the meeting, my sister tried to justify her actions, but it was clear she was in the wrong. My parents were disappointed in her, especially after they learned she had influenced the others. It was a side of her they hadn't seen before. As for the rest of my siblings, they started to see how their actions had affected me. They remembered how I had always been there for them, supporting them through their ups and downs, and they felt remorse for not considering my feelings. The biggest surprise came when my sister-in-law, the one who had received the book meant for me, stepped in. She had been quiet throughout the whole ordeal, but she revealed that she had known about the plan and felt terrible. She had tried to talk my sister out of it, but to no avail. She handed me the book, saying it was rightfully mine. Justice was served in a subtle way. My sister, who had always been the star, was now seen in a different light by the family. Her influence waned, and my siblings started to treat me with more respect and kindness. They made efforts to make it up to me, with small gestures and genuine gifts, no pranks attached. The change in dynamics was unexpected but welcome. I started to feel like I was part of the family again, not just the butt of a cruel joke. It was a slow process, but we were rebuilding our relationships, one step at a time. And as for my sister, she learned a hard lesson about the consequences of her actions. She tried to make amends, but it would take time for the trust to be restored. For now, she was more careful with her words and actions, knowing that the family was watching. My mother-in-law's circus baby shower backfired when we cut her off. She's playing the victim, but the court papers she's hiding say otherwise. My husband and I are expecting our first child. We moved to be closer to his family. I'm not in contact with mine. My mother-in-law has been referring to the baby as her baby this entire time. She will say things like, "I can't wait for my baby to be born, and my baby is going to be so loved." This rubs me the wrong way for reasons I cannot explain, but my husband tells me to ignore her. My mother-in-law wanted to throw me a baby shower and invite her friends. She said they made an agreement a long time ago that they would celebrate each other's children's weddings and births. My husband and I eloped and declined a reception for her friends since we don't know them. My mother-in-law told me that I owed it to her to let her throw the baby shower since I hurt her friends' feelings by not having a wedding reception. I asked if I could invite my friends, and she said no, that this was for her friends, and that if my friends wanted to throw me a shower, they could. I reluctantly agreed. My husband and I spent hours on our registry, and my mother-in-law asked for it so she could share it with her friends. She said she forwarded the registry on. She asked me what design I wanted on my cake and cookies. I told her flowers because I am decorating the nursery in a garden theme. At the shower, they provided me with a mother-to-be sash and my mother-in-law a granny-to-be sash to wear. I noticed that the theme of the shower was circus animals. The cake had an elephant and balloons on it, and the cookies were shaped like animals. At first, I thought that maybe the floral theme was just too difficult, so I went along with it until it was time to open presents. Every present was some sort of circus animal: onesies, blankets, toys, nothing from my registry. I was a little confused and even went so far as to check my registry to make sure I hadn't made a mistake and changed everything. I thanked everyone for their gifts and tried to sound as gracious as possible, but I was so confused. My husband, who is a little less tactful than I am, showed up at the end of the shower and noticed the theme right away. He said, "What's up with all the circus animals?" He looked at the presents and said, "This isn't what we asked for." Then he looked at his mom and said, "Mom, what did you do?" She smiled and said, "I didn't like the theme you chose for my baby. I'm going to decorate my baby's nursery at my house with circus animals, so I created a registry for myself." My husband said, "You did what?" She said, "My baby is going to need a room at my house, so I threw a shower for myself." I lost my composure and told her that she would not see my baby and to stop calling the baby hers. And my husband told his mom that she's delusional if she thinks we're going to allow this. She started crying and said we are just withholding her baby from her. We've been getting texts from his family since the shower, calling us selfish and ungrateful, and saying we ruined her joy of being a grandma. Are we the jerks? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Make sure if she has keys to your home, locks are changed. Make sure you invest in security cameras. Let the hospital know your mother-in-law is to be nowhere near your baby. Let them know that you and your husband are the only two that fill out any paperwork. Honestly, no contact from the start so that she has no grandparents' visitation case. Document every creepy thing she does. Call your doctor and tell your pediatrician at the time to password protect your medical information. Your mother-in-law is unhinged, and this has hands that rock the cradle vibes. Comment 2. Not the idiot. This is very disturbing behavior. Deranged, in fact. If you and your husband ever do relent and let her glimpse the baby, I know you will never let him or her out of your sight, and that nursery will never be used. I'm not usually alarmist, but please ensure you have security cameras installed in and around your home. Also, make sure that your mother-in-law has no keys. Change the locks if need be. Congratulations to you and your husband on your baby. Hope all goes well. Now for the update. Hey Reddit, it's been 3 months since I last posted about the baby shower fiasco with my mother-in-law. And oh boy, do I have an update for you. Buckle up, because things have gone from bad to worse. After the baby shower, my husband and I had a huge fight with his mom. We thought things couldn't get any crazier, but we were wrong. She doubled down on her behavior, insisting that she had every right to be involved in every aspect of our baby's life. She even went as far as to set up a nursery in her house, complete with a crib and all the circus-themed items from the shower. My husband, who's always been the peacemaker in the family, was at his wit's end. He tried to reason with her, explaining that while we appreciated her enthusiasm, She needed to respect our boundaries. But she wouldn't listen. She accused us of being cruel and keeping her from her grandchild. The tension between us escalated when she showed up at our house unannounced with more circus-themed baby gear. She demanded to know why we hadn't set up the nursery she designed. I was home alone at the time, and I lost it. I told her she had no right to dictate how we raise our child or decorate our nursery. She left in tears, and I thought that would be the end of it. But no, she took it a step further. She started a social media campaign, posting pictures of her nursery and tagging us, claiming we were denying her the right to be a grandmother. Her friends, the same ones from the baby shower, rallied around her, flooding our inboxes with messages about how we were terrible people for excluding her. My husband and I were at a loss. We wanted to keep the peace, but it was clear that his mother was not going to back down. We decided to seek advice from a family therapist who suggested we set clear boundaries with her. It was easier said than done, but we drafted a letter outlining our expectations and the consequences if she continued to overstep. We sent the letter, and for a brief moment, there was silence. We thought maybe she had taken our words to heart. But then, the unexpected happened. She showed up at our next doctor's appointment. She had somehow found out the time and place and was waiting for us in the lobby. She caused a scene, crying and pleading to be led into the ultrasound room. The staff had to intervene, and she was escorted out. My husband and I were mortified. Things took a turn for the worse when she started showing up at my husband's workplace, bringing him lunch and trying to talk to him about the baby. His coworkers were getting uncomfortable, and his boss even pulled him aside to ask if everything was okay at home. We were at our breaking point. We had tried to be understanding, but it was clear that she was not going to respect our boundaries. We had no choice but to cut contact with her completely. It was the hardest decision we've ever had to make, but our priority was our growing family. The fallout was immediate. My husband's family took her side, accusing us of being heartless. They bombarded us with calls and texts, trying to guilt us into reconciling with her. But we stood firm, knowing that we had to protect our child and our sanity. Just when we thought things couldn't get any more strained, we discovered that my mother-in-law had been spreading rumors about us in the community. She told anyone who would listen that we were unfit parents and that she was considering legal action to get visitation rights to her grandchild. We were shocked and hurt. We had tried to handle the situation with as much grace as possible, but it seemed like there was no pleasing her. We consulted with a lawyer to understand our rights and to prepare for the possibility of a legal battle. And now, here we are, 3 months later, still dealing with the aftermath. Our baby is due any day now, and instead of being able to focus on the joy of our new arrival, we're caught up in this mess with my mother-in-law. It's not how we imagined starting our family, but we're holding on to each other and hoping for the best. My brother-in-law's secret crush on me blew up in his face. He played the victim, but the twisted truth left him broke and alone. I, 31-year-old female, have a half-sister, Ellen, 34-year-old female. Same dad, different moms, no. I'm not the result of an affair. Ellen and I are not close and never have been. We only saw each other at family get-togethers. Ellen has a husband, Tom, 34 years old. Tom is a nice guy, and when she introduced him to the family, he and my husband hit it off, and my husband ended up hiring Tom to work for him. Tom and Ellen got married and had a baby, and during this time they started having problems. I didn't hear this from Ellen, but from my dad and from my husband, who was told by Tom. Tom then started staying really late at work, and then progressed to coming over to our house, often for drinks with my husband, and by extension, me. He became a regular visitor to our house and began unloading his problems. This went on for about 8 months until one evening, Tom was quite tipsy and admitted he'd developed a crush on me. Understandably, this meant he didn't come back to our house. He has profusely apologized for this, and we're fine now, but obviously I just prefer some distance. I guess that whole thing was a wake-up call for him because he and Ellen started going to counseling. During the counseling, he told her about what had happened because Ellen called me and screamed at me for the whole situation. She said she and Tom would never be in the same room with me again after what I'd done. She made excuses for not coming to family gatherings I was at for a while before my dad confronted her, and she said she and I had fallen out and weren't speaking. I went along with this because I didn't want to tell my dad the truth either. It has been over a year of this, but this all came to a head over my dad inviting both of us and our families to NYE and getting mad that Ellen wouldn't come if I was going. He started ranting at me that we needed to grow up and make peace, and if we didn't want to talk to each other, fine, but not being able to be in the same room was nuts. I got sick of being berated and said I agree, but it wasn't me who started it. My dad then demanded to know what the fight was about and wouldn't let up. Eventually, I just told him. He's furious. He called Ellen and yelled at her. He called my husband and yelled at him. He is seething that no one told him and that he has been acting like things are fine with Tom this whole time. Ellen is furious with me for telling Dad, saying I did this on purpose and have ruined things with Tom after she'd worked so hard to fix them. I feel bad for the results, but I also feel like carrying the burden of this rift that I didn't cause was unfair to me in the first place. I kept quiet when I didn't have to, but once I was getting heat over it, it just became too much. Am I the idiot for spilling? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your sister made the problem about you, lied to your dad about what the problem was, and caused the rift in the family over her own insecurity. You did the right thing in all of this, and you shouldn't have to take the heat for being the adult in the room. Comment 2. Not the idiot about this particular thing, but I think you should have done your sister a solid and sent Tom home when he started socializing frequently at your house. Not because of the crush, but because presumably she was at home with the baby all the time. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a month since I spilled the beans to my dad about the whole mess with my half-sister Ellen and her husband Tom, and boy, do I have an update for you. So after my dad found out about the situation, he was livid. He had a few choice words for Ellen, and let's just say they didn't sit well with her. Ellen, in her usual fashion, decided to retaliate, but not in the way you'd expect. She started spreading rumors about me to the rest of the family, painting me as the villain who seduced her husband. I couldn't believe it. The nerve of her to twist the story like that. Meanwhile, Tom, who had been trying to mend things with Ellen, was caught in the crossfire. He had been working extra hard at my husband's company, trying to prove his worth and distract himself from the home drama. But with Ellen's rumors, work became a minefield. My husband, bless his heart, tried to stay neutral, but you could tell the stress was getting to him. Now here's where things get even more tangled. Remember how Tom had developed a crush on me? Well, apparently, Ellen had her own little secret. It turns out she had been getting a little too cozy with one of Tom's friends, something that only came to light when the friend's wife caught them in a rather compromising situation. The wife, furious and hurt, decided to expose Ellen's affair to everyone, including my dad. My dad, who had been trying to play peacemaker, was now completely done with Ellen's antics. He had always had a soft spot for her, but learning about her affair was the last straw. He told her she needed to sort herself out and stop blaming others for her own mistakes. As for the family gatherings, well, they've been awkward, to say the least. Ellen has been avoiding them like the plague, which is fine by me, but it's put a strain on family relations. My dad's been trying to keep the peace, but you can tell he's disappointed in how things have turned out. In a bizarre twist, Tom and I ended up having to work together on a project for my husband's company. It was strictly professional, but you could cut the tension with a knife. We managed to get through it without any issues, but I made sure to keep my distance. Now here's the jaw-dropping part. During one of these work meetings, Tom received a call from Ellen, and she was hysterical. She had been fired from her job for misconduct. Apparently, her affair had not gone unnoticed at her workplace, and it had caused quite the scandal. Tom, already at his wit's end, told her he needed time to think about their relationship and what he wanted. The family drama has been the talk of the town, and I've been doing my best to stay out of it. but it's hard when you're constantly being dragged into the middle of it. I've had relatives calling me, asking for the real story, and I've had to set the record straight more times than I can count. Ellen has been trying to reach out to me, probably to apologize or maybe to ask for help, but I've been ignoring her calls. I just can't deal with her drama anymore. It's been exhausting, and I've had enough. And here's the subtle twist of karma. Ellen, who had been so quick to blame me for her marital issues, is now facing the consequences of her own actions. Her affair has not only cost her her job, but also the respect of our family. And Tom, who had once confessed his feelings for me, is now seeing Ellen's true colors. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.